I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
And we're the Rambling Reviewers.
And today we're looking at the Lego Batman movie.
A combination of titles that you really wouldn't expect to see, but works.
Like Legos everywhere nowadays, folks. If you haven't paid attention to those games, you're, I don't know, somewhat behind the curve on that particular subject.
Or you have actual lives.
Oh, you never know.
You know, 6 of 1, really. Anyways, normally we do this thing where we go in and we rip the movie apart and say, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. And then we rant and rave and we talk about it and we pick it apart and
we try to fix the flaws or whatever.
Yeah, but see, this is a film that has a scene where Batman tricks the Kraken into shooting a fireball into Sauron's eye, causing a team kill, and later gets into a fist fight with a Dalek.
Yeah.
You can't really make fun.
The movie's making fun of itself, and delightfully so.
Yeah, there's a scene where Batman, honestly one of my favorite scenes in the movie, Batman goes up to this wall of pictures of his parents and his family, and he says, you know, hey Mom, hey Dad, I saved the city today. You've seen it in the commercials. It's probably one of the few really sweet moments that they showed in the commercials. Actually, it's the only sweet moment that they showed in the commercials. And then he drop kicks Alfred into, well, he kind of, you know,
Alfred accidentally startles him, and Batman kicks him across the room
and into a piano.
And
not like as in he careened across the room, hit a piano. No, he was launched into the air into an open-topped piano, which then closed on him.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, well, Alfred then decides, you know, I've seen you introspective like this about your parents and family before. And then he lists off all the years that other Batman movies have been made for every Batman movie.
Yeah, though they don't always have this level of introspection if you really think about it.
Yeah, I mean...
You know?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
The movie is remarkably self-aware about the history of Batman and how, the relationship the characters have with one another.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly smart for a movie that basically exists to say, hey, we're here because Lego.
Yeah.
And then has, you know, Voldemort teaming up with the Joker.
All right, but what they did is, you know, they established us with the first Lego movie, and it was like the rules on which Lego runs, and we you know, okay, in this movie universe or a series of parallel universes, whatever the hell it is, we've got the freedom to just mash random ideas together, to be irreverent, to be whatever, because it's Legos, and that's what they were aiming to do, and that's what they did, and it is quite a bit of fresh air to compared to some of the darker superhero stuff that's come out,
AKA mostly Batman stuff.
Okay, and I do love the regular, you know, the Nolan trilogy.
Oh, the Nolan trilogy is fantastic.
Yeah.
I will go back and watch those again and again.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'd space it out because, you know, there's only so much of something you can take at one time, unless it's Babylon 5, in which case, you know, watch that as much as possible. But aside from, but even with the Nolan trilogy, it gets kind of dark. And the most we get for an introspective Batman is, my parents are dead. I get over it by beating criminals in the face with my fists.
Right. I was thinking after we left the theater that, hey, wait a minute, this says something about like masculinity in our culture. If you think about it, it's like, okay, you know, here's a guy, he went through serious trauma, and what's his response? He channels it into rage. And it is righteous rage and so forth, and Batman is cool, and I love that. But it's like, hey, yeah, did anybody get to the whole, like, you know, emotional depth of the trauma and so forth? And oddly enough, in the Lego Batman movie, mostly, it is mostly silly things are going on in this movie, and over-the-top action stuff. But it gets sort of remarkably personal, where, especially when Alfred says, Batman, your greatest fear is being part of a family again. I was like, hey, that's a really excellent idea that I don't think has ever been explored before.
You know what else is a really excellent idea that hasn't been explored before? What he claims his real fear is. Snake clowns.
Snake clouds! Yeah.
That would be scary! But yeah, I don't think any Batman movie has ever discussed Bruce's
the fear of going through loss again.
It basically is pointing out, yes, this is Batman. Batman, he goes out at night and he beats up criminals and he saves the day. But these are not the actions of an emotionally or psychologically stable or healthy man.
Right. Now, of course, by the end of the movie, he's still kicking ass and all that. But he's got friends now, and that makes it okay.
Okay, but he's not isolating himself.
Right.
Humans as creatures, we're social beings. I mean, even introverts like you or I, we need occasional human contact if we're going to get through our lives. I mean, that's why we see each other, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, and friends. And friends. Totally not so I can achieve the bare minimum of human contact. Smoke one!
I like how you defined we see each other and friends. Like there wasn't a friendship here already. But I know what you meant to say.
No. I was deliberately doing that.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, even introverts need some human contact.
Right.
And Bruce is basically avoiding all human contact. He's shunned the Bruce Wayne persona.
It's fun though too that he's avoiding contact, but not in the sense of being physically alone, because he has these hordes of admiring fans at the beginning of the movie, and he's totally fine like hobnobbing with the common folk, or whatever, but not in a way that there's like a deeper connection, and that's what he's starved for. And that's interesting that the movie's drawing the difference between the, celebrity style connection, which is kind of superficial and fun, versus the deeper bit of raising a son. Which, normally when people do Batman stories, Dick Grayson gets adopted by Bruce Wayne, basically just so we can have another member of the cast who can also punch people. And it's not usually delved into, that they have, like, parallel tracks of pain. Like, it's referenced a little. It's like, yes, you lost your parents too. Now be badass with me. And they move on to, like, the action scene.
No, okay. Well, there's a few that I can think of. Batman the Animated Series had him adopt the kid because he felt sorry for him. And one scene I really like from Young Justice is that someone's criticizing Batman, saying, oh, what? We should treat everyone like Robin? You took a 10-year-old kid and you taught him how to fight crime and beat people up. Why? Did you want to turn him into you? No. I wanted him to not turn out like me.
Yeah.
And that's why he did that.
That's a good line, because he'll actually have a father figure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's rare, and granted, I would not advise that people take the route that Lego Movie Batman did, where he literally adopted Dick Grayson on accident.
Yeah. No, we talk about emotional maturity in this movie. It deliberately comes and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just like, Dick was asking him all these questions, and he's just saying yes to all of them. Like, you think you're in the market for adopting a kid? Yes. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah. Would you adopt me? That sounds great. Yeah, sure.
Okay, he was distracted because he found Barbara Gordon to be cute or hot or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell what you're supposed to feel about these characters that are all basically the exact same dimensions.
Yeah, that's why they signaled it with the very deliberate hearts around her face while he stares at her, and the music changes.
But there's like different types of attraction.
Yeah, there is.
You can be attracted to someone because they're cute or because they're hot.
Yeah.
There is a difference.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've gotten into the meat of the plot. So it starts off with pretty much every Batman villain that he's faced, aside from a few, showing up.
I mean, the freaking Condiment King shows up. They empty the kitchen sink in this one.
Well, it
was ever full. Whatever.
I mean, they left out some of the darker ones.
Oh, they did. That's true.
Like Hush, for example, or Professor Pig, or
well, the point is that a whole lot of them.
Victor Zsasz.
Oh, Zsasz. Yeah, hard to do a Lego Zsasz. Yeah.
Flesh-colored Lego minifigure.
No, I mean, it's hard to have the attitude of Zsasz in the midst of this movie.
Yeah, okay, yeah. If you're bringing in the Condiment King, you can't bring in Zsasz.
Yeah, that does not fit.
Freaking Zsasz.
Yeah.
They brought in, like, Professor Egghead.
Yeah, I had not heard of that one
before. A guy
before.
who hasn't appeared outside of the, outside of the 60s Adam West Batman, aside from the 60s Adam West Batman comics that they've been releasing recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny. I mean, like, I wouldn't be able to stomach it every day, but it's a good way to cleanse the palate of the. Well, how did Lego Batman put it in the other movie? Darkness. Dun, 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 dun. No parents. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep hitting you. My bad.
By which he means he bumped into me, folks. He wasn't punching me secretly this whole time.
I'm openly punching him.
Oh no! Yeah.
Okay, so it starts off with the Joker stealing a plane full of bombs from MacGuffin Airlines.
Yeah.
And right away, you know this is going to be a glorious movie because, first off, a reference to MacGuffin, so they know that this is just basically a way to move the plot along. Second off, it's the Joker, and yes, the Joker is a bit overexposed in comics, and they do really weird things. They tried to make it so that the Joker was actually a spirit that had secretly haunted Gotham for like all this time, even back in the prehistory days.
Really?
Yeah, and like part of it is because he uses a Lazarus pit or something, except not because it's stupid. Look, we all know it's stupid. Mind you, I am of the opinion that Batman is actually secretly an avatar of Barbatos, a demon that was sealed in the location where Gotham would eventually spring up. But that's a different story because it's awesome because bats.
Right. Yeah. They didn't have clowns in prehistory. You see, it's total difference.
No, they still look the same.
Okay, realistically, they did not have clowns in prehistory. So
realistically, they didn't have Barbatos or demons.
But they had bats, was my point.
Okay, whatever. So, not only does the plane that is titled MacGuffin, full of bombs, get hijacked, but the pilot starts giving the Joker shit. And just, this is the most amazing thing that I've seen in a comic book based movie. Someone just openly being flippant to the villain. It's going, dude, we all know that the hero's going to stop you. This is going to happen. Let's talk about the Joker for a bit. He has a good voice.
Yeah.
He's not Mark Hamill.
No.
Or, Heath Ledger, although that's kind of understandable.
Yeah, we couldn't do a Heath Ledger Joker.
Unless we had a Lazarus pit.
Unless we had... God, no, I was trying to go with the Heath Ledger Joker was dark, and this is a more lighthearted movie.
Oh. Well, we still don't have a Lazarus pit.
We still don't have a Lazarus pit, right.
Okay, but in all seriousness, he's an okay Joker. I mean...
He's fine, yeah.
It fits the movie, but... So he basically takes all of these bad guys, and he reveals, okay, this is Gotham City. It's built on 2 plates. No, not plate tectonics, actual plates. Sitting over the infinite void of nothingness from the Lego movie, and they even briefly show a clip of Emmett falling into the infinite void of nothingness. So that's a thing. Batman shows up. He has a pretty cool song and a pretty epic fight scene with every villain he's ever had, except for the darker ones.
And he winds up in this spot where he's got the Joker with one grappling hook, and he's like, attached himself to the railings or whatever with another grappling hook. And Joker's like, "Oh well, you can't go disarm the bomb and fight capture your greatest enemy at the same time. So which is it gonna be?" And Batman's like, "You're not my greatest enemy. What are you talking about?" And you're like, "No, I'm your greatest enemy. No, I'm fighting a number of people right now. Casual fighting.
Who's the person who pushes you to move beyond yourself and push past your limits? Bane." No, not Bane. Are you insane? Okay, Superman. He's not a villain.
Oh, well, I guess I don't really have an enemy.
Greatest villain? Superman. Are you serious? Okay, but then Batman gives a speech that I think that a lot of comic book writers need to have Batman give the Joker. Joker, I don't hate you. I don't feel anything for you. You mean nothing to me. And they need to do that. I was telling Sonic in the car, hey, you know what? With the Joker, they give him huge monologues about how Batman is this thing that completes him, and he's like the opposite side of his soul. They're really the same person, just different sides of the law. There is no other villain outside of anime who gives big, grandiose speeches like this. Lex Luthor never monologues to Superman unless he's really high on drugs, and I have actually seen that.
Oh wow.
Well, they were combat drugs, so
Okay.
it wasn't like he was like, "Woo! Superman, you and your 12 brothers, I'm gonna kill you with this rubber band."
That would be a very strange comic.
Yes, and this movie is such a good baseline for that.
Yep.
But there's more to it than that. I mean, yes, the Joker is Batman's nemesis, the one that he will always have. But no other villain. You don't see Voldemort talking to Harry like this. You are my equal but opposite. You are my sworn enemy, and we were destined to fight against each other again and again. But no, just comic writers keep frickin' doing this. They need Batman to say, no, shut up, you are just another psychopath that I'll have to deal with this week. Next week, I'll be pushing myself past my limits to fight the Riddler, or Bane, or Scarecrow, or Clayface.
Or Penguin, or whoever.
Okay, maybe not Penguin.
Yeah.
I mean, Penguin's kind of reformed. He more does the black market shit now, which I don't mind, actually. I like that he works as a kind of an
Yeah, it makes him a little different from the other villains that way.
Yeah, or Mr. Freeze, for another example of those villains. And this actually really affects Joker. Of course, but then Batman takes it too far because this is Lego Movie Batman, who takes everything too far. He even has a setting on his car for overcompensates.
Yes.
I'm not kidding.
Yep.
It says that. And he disarms the bomb. Everyone celebrates. Joker goes away crying. But Batman...
That was, again, another, surprisingly moving moment there, especially making no sense that you'd feel sympathy for the villain. In particularly this villain. But, they made it... Because, it was like a weird parody thing of, a relationship of some kind. And he actually used the word shipping at one point. I don't do ships. It sort of... It made fun of itself, and then somehow felt poignant a little bit at the same time.
So then he saves the city. Everyone celebrates and parties and sending up fireworks. And the streets are cleared for the Batmobile to do cool stunts on. When did they have time to do this since the Joker only just, got there?
Legos.
I don't even care anymore. And Batman takes his transforming mecha car.
Yeah, that's a new thing for Legos. That happens a lot more in the Lego world than in the regular Batman world.
Which, is really disappointing because I want Batman to have a giant cat robot that turns into the Batmobile and into a jet and then into a boat. Damn it, I want Batman driving around in an Autobot. Why can't I be satisfied with that?
Right.
So,
I am Optimus Batman.
Oh, I would watch that. Yeah. I would watch that. So he visits the orphanage. We see Dick Grayson for the first time. Shows that he actually does kind of have a soft spot for orphans and stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad they had that in there. But he's still just shooting merchandise at them. Here are a bunch of T-shirts and coffee mugs and stuff. And not spending time to actually talk to anybody.
He made them feel better.
He did. He cared, but he was still in celebrity mode. It was over the course of the movie he learned to be a little more connected.
Okay, so after that happens, he goes away to his home on Wayne Island, Wayne Manor. In broad daylight, he drives there, and no one's figured out who he is.
I thought he put there was some sort of smoky thing.
Oh yes,
turned on.
He's driving directly towards the one island in Gotham City.
That's true.
And if anyone watching via satellite had seen that, it would be like, Batman goes into this cloud of smoke, and then he doesn't come out.
Yeah, that'd be pretty clear.
The newscasters are all commenting, "Oh, I bet he goes home to his teams of supermodels and stuff." And he's got no one. And
surprisingly sad.
Overly long gag ensues of him making lobster thermidor in the microwave. And then he eats it on a jet ski.
Just not even going anywhere. Just sitting on this jet ski. Yep, here I am.
Then we have the poignant moment with Alfred that I talked about earlier.
I know. That is sad.
And then Alfred says, your greatest fear is being part of a family again. Of course, then Batman has to ruin it as he ruins literally everything else in this movie by saying, "Nope, now my new greatest fear is snake clowns because you put that in my head."
It's so weird. He could be so
Poignant and yet so immature.
Immature, yeah.
Just back and forth without skipping a beat.
That's it, yeah. This is a new sort of subgenre we've invented here, but it works.
Yeah. Okay. Then he goes and attends Jim Gordon's retirement party.
Yeah, this is the least I've seen of Jim Gordon in any Batman film. He literally just shows up to say bye. Okay, there was no room for him in the plot.
He also openly lampshades. Yeah, the only reason I was here was to push the Batman summoning button.
Yeah. Which totally screws up the plan early on when the egg guy,
Professor Egghead
is like threw eggs onto the bat signal. Oh my gosh! How will we summon Batman now? And it's like, yeah, why don't villains do that more often?
And then they try calling him on the bat phone, and it's saying, "We're getting holding music," and they hold the phone out. Background music stops, and the background music starts playing again, but all tinny and stuff coming out of the phone.
Yeah.
Just there's 1,001 jokes in every scene. You should definitely see this movie. So they go there. Barbara Gordon is succeeding him as the police commissioner. Yeah, he must have worked real hard to...
Actually, I mean, that is a reference to Batman Beyond, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, during this fight, she also knocks out a Batman Beyond villain, who I can't remember. It's like all glowy and shit.
Oh, that guy. I forget his name.
And later in the film, one of the costume scenes in the Batcave is the Batman Beyond suit.
Oh, nice. I didn't miss that one.
It's easy to miss a lot of shit in this movie.
Yeah.
Because it's all
very
Legos.
Rapid, yeah.
Yeah. So, moving along.
They do this little intro thing. We're like, and Barbara Gordon, is awesome, and she went to Harvard for police.
Which I don't think is a thing.
It's totally not a thing, but it's their way of lampshading. Like, okay, guys, we could have just made up the name of an academy and had some random character be like, "Wow, that's the best police academy anyone knows," but we're just gonna call it Harvard for police, and you know what we mean.
She spent her time in Bloodhaven, which is an actual sister city to Gotham in the DC universe.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
And then she cleaned up crime by using statistics and compassion. It was like, oh yeah, those are some things you might use in the real world that don't necessarily come up in superhero land very often.
Yeah, it's...
Particularly the statistics part.
Yeah. Oh, in between those two scenes, we see a interview on TV with Superman about he shoved General Zod into the Phantom Zone because he didn't really have anywhere else to put them. And it was also the place where you put all the worst villains.
Come to think of it, it's odd that Zod doesn't show up later in this movie.
Oh, yeah, I thought of that earlier today, but I forgot to mention it. Yeah, I mean, you'd think that out of all of the characters that were in the Phantom Zone later on, superpowered evil Superman is not one of the ones that Joker would want. I mean, I guess it was kind of crowded already, but
yeah,
still.
I guess he was taking a nap or something.
Anyways, but we hear some of the catchphrases of the villains who are stuck in there, including Wingardium Leviosa, I'll get you, my pretty, and little one, you might not have heard us talk about these characters before on the show, but I'll give you a hint. They go, exterminate!
Yep.
Yes, the Cybermen are in there.
The Cybermen are in there.
No, it is not the Cybermen. And this gives Joker an idea. So at the gala, Barbara Gordon announces her plan. We're going to actually try this real police stuff in Gotham and not necessarily rely on Batman because, his track record of capturing these supervillains, not the greatest. I would argue, this is just me, he has a great record of capturing them. You police have a terrible record of keeping them in prison.
Right. It seems like this version of Batman never did capture anybody before or something because no one referenced I'll just break out of Arkham again. Instead it was, you never catch me, Batman. You never manage it. So, anyway.
Yeah, but if they're saying all these other films are canon...
Oh, nothing's hardly canon in a Lego world. It's all just vague, sort of broad strokes if it makes for a good joke. Anyway, moving on. This is the sort of show that could contradict itself and be totally fine with it.
Which normally I'm not fine with, but this is just Looney Tunes enough to make it work. So,
So the Joker shows up with like all his minion or all his other Rose Gallery folks.
yep, including people from other Rogues Galleries. Like, there's some from Classic Green Lantern, like Gentleman Ghost,
Oh.
and one or two from Green Arrow. But moving along, because I'm a dork. Anyways, so... And the Joker surrenders. Yeah, he just turns himself in. And everyone else. To quote the Riddler, riddle me this. What just happened?
And then Batman does this whole thing where he's like, they're playing one. No, was it one is the only number at that point? Because like he does a little montage where everything's black and white.
There's a
except for
scene
Batman.
I really like in here, though, where the reporters ask, what are you going to do now with your life, Batman? Well, what do you mean? Well, all the crime is gone forever now because these guys are captured and we're putting them in prison. So you can spend more time with your family. Now, two things about this. First off, all crime is gone, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure you didn't capture Black Mask or the Ventriloquist or any of the Falcones or any of the other major crime gangs, because there's two types of criminals in Gotham. There's the super criminals who do the big flashy stuff, and then there's the mobs. Sometimes they overlap, like Black Mask and like Black Mask stuff, but for the most part, the super criminals and the actual mafia and gangs and shit, they go different routes. And I didn't see any of the white collar crime guys getting caught. Like, seriously, all crime was the responsibility of like these 30 bad guys?
I mean, that itself is a reference to how crime is typically portrayed in Batman stories. There'll be the cold open where he takes on like a random mugger or something, but practically everything that ever happens always has a supervillain behind it because those are the flashy, interesting characters, right?
Yeah,
So it's
true.
like, okay, so in a narrative sense, I guess if all the flashy guys are gone, then just vaguely there's no more crime.
But the other part, and this is the part that I really like, one of the reporters says, now, Batman, you can go and spend time with your family. And Barbara actually notices that Batman is blue screening and says, you can take a step back. We'll take it from here, Batman. Almost like she's noting, oh, something's wrong with Batman. He should probably leave.
That's nice of her, yeah. Showing some compassion, as the one little intro bit said.
And, you know, compared to all the other people she's seen blue screen, she's probably used statistics to determine that something wasn't right with how he was asking.
Yeah.
Also, the celebrations on how there's no more crime apparently were so great that police officers and random citizens are shooting guns wildly into the air and flipping over cars and setting fires. Boy, I'm sure glad that crime is gone.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise that would be considered, I don't know, discharging a weapon in public or
Destroying property.
destroying public property, arson.
Yeah. But that too, it's funny to see Batman not notice that because that crime isn't cool enough for him to deal with, I guess. Someone needs to put on a mask first or paint their face or something.
Yeah.
You know.
We'll just have to wait till the Super Bowl for that.
Ah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Anywho, and so he kind of falls into a kind of in a state of depression where he's not really eating. He's super focused on the criminals, which he knows are in prison.
He's just like watching them from afar. Still in prison. Okay.
And this is where the Joker's admittedly pretty genius plan starts to show up.
Yeah, he had to be really, really smart as to how Batman would react here to make this work.
Well,
in fact, the Joker pulled a Batman gambit on Batman,
Which is what TV Trope says.
Yeah.
Because Harley Quinn did not turn herself in and has been giving Batman subtle hints on what Batman should do to the Joker. By which we mean she pulls up to Arkham Asylum in a truck labeled Phantom's Own laundry supplies.
Yeah.
Because the Joker wants to be put into the Phantom Zone with all the villains. Batman seizes on this, realizes, oh crap, the only way to get... No, wait, no. He goes back to the Batcave and he realizes, oh no, my computer isn't working. Because Alfred turned off his computer.
With the parental lock.
Which somehow is a graphic of an adult Alfred standing next to a child-sized Batman. Which always raises the question, who makes these graphics?
Yes.
I mean, there has to have been a program in there that said, okay, So on this particular computer operating system, we needs to have a older, balding British gentleman and a little kid Batman. So how many people are going to use this? One.
Yeah.
Maybe never, because he's a fully grown man in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how much are we getting paid? Oh, well, we're actually sworn to secrecy. We can't actually get paid. This sounds like a solid business investment.
Yep.
I bet there's like someone who is exposed to the Garrick formula and has access to the Speed Force who just makes all these graphics super fast so that whenever there's a supervillain attack, they can go, time until explosion.
Yeah.
Alfred starts going on about how you need to actually start taking care of your son. And Bruce actually wasn't paying attention when he accidentally adopted Dick Grayson earlier, so he has no idea what Alfred is talking about.
Yeah.
Then Batman says some very hurtful things to Alfred, and dude, I felt this one. You don't even have a family, so what would you know about raising a surrogate son?
Yeah. That was
Considering
painful.
that Bruce Wayne is Alfred's surrogate son, and that he got the advice to do this from when Alfred was reading a book called Dealing with Your Problem Child. Yeah. So Alfred, in a bit of spite that I absolutely love the old bastard for, decides to open up the Batcave to Dick Grayson.
Who then wanders in and goes, "What's all this? This is so nifty." Batman's like, "What? Why did you do that?" "It was just dusting, sir."
But Batman eventually realizes the true value of this child and what he could mean to Batman's life. Specifically, this child is small enough to fit into the air vents of the Fortress of Solitude to break in and acquire the Phantom Zone projector so he can put the Joker into the Phantom
The
Zone.
computer actually tells him, like, "Yes, you can get through here, but you cannot get in if you are too buff and awesome." And he's like, "Dang, my abs are against me."
And fabulous, sir.
Okay.
My cross to bear. So they go to the Fortress of Solitude in order to steal the Phantom Zone projector from literally one of the most powerful beings on the planet. Batman says, "Okay, I'm going to distract him because he's all lonely up here in his Fortress of Solitude, so he has no one around. What I need you to do is break into this impregnable fortress, face near certain death, and steal me this thing." And of course Robin's like, "Okay."
Yeah, this is a very dorky Robin we have in this movie.
Yep. So it turns out that Batman was not invited to the 57th annual Justice League anniversary party, which it kind of makes sense. You have all these movie portrayals of Batman as a sole loner figure. You gotta figure his social life isn't the best.
Yeah, that's usually doesn't come across as being portrayed as some sort of weakness on his part. You know, it's just like, well, he's alone because he's that awesome. But it's interesting they put it as a problem for him.
Kind of lampshades the problem of this is the attitude Batman has versus he's almost constantly put into this team of the greatest heroes in the world, but he really doesn't fit into the mindset of a good team player. So you got to figure they reached out to him for like the first few years, maybe Superman being one of the last people who still tried to invite him, but eventually he just gave up.
Yeah, it's a sad implicit backstory there.
Yeah. And then you finally feel guilty when Batman did show up at exactly the wrong moment. Yeah, so Robin steals the projector, and we get some not bonding between Batman and Robin.
But they do a long arc of this movie of slowly a little, like, first it's just, "I need you because you're expendable," and then
he literally uses those words.
Yeah.
You are expendable.
Yeah. And then it's, "I'm proud of you, but mainly me. I'm proud of me for giving good instructions."
I'm feeling pride in me for being a great teacher.
But you could tell, like, he wanted to be proud of Robin for a second, but he was, like, awkward about it, so he went back to his standard, So, yeah, as the movie progresses, it slowly gets more and more connected there.
So then they fly to Arkham Asylum, having somehow wrecked a very significant portion of the Fortress of Solitude and stolen a very valuable and dangerous weapon from Superman, which isn't really mentioned again. You know?
Oh, Superman, and yeah, nobody seems to notice the thing is missing.
Yeah, or that all this shit is damaged. And I'm pretty sure that Superman would be able to tell that Batman had been here and he was the one responsible, considering the massive portal to the Phantom Zone that opens up later.
Yeah, that just never comes
Yeah,
up
like
again.
5 minutes after the end, Superman is just going to be like, Bruce, you done fucked up. If the movie had gone on for 5 more minutes, it would have ended with Batman pantsed and wedgied up to the top of a flagpole, and then and then his car melted. Tell me I'm wrong.
At least they ended the movie at the moment they did. Yeah, good
okay.
timing.
So Batman goes into Arkham Asylum, lying to new Commissioner Gordon, to Barbara. I'm going to say Barbara because whenever I say Commissioner Gordon, I think Jim. Commissioner Gordon saying, "Yeah, I'd like to work together on the case." Yeah. And then it turns out that he's lying, and he instead decides to beat his way through every single one of the Arkham security guards, aka our attempts to play through the Harley Quinn DLC in Arkham Asylum,
that was fun.
Arkham City. Yeah, okay, I'm serious. That was so stupid.
We got lost. There was one door we had to go through that we somehow didn't find. So we just kept going around in circles until we eventually had knocked out every single guy in the greater vicinity.
In the entire playable area.
Should have gotten an achievement for that or something.
Oh my god, we absolutely should have. Yeah. And then we went inside and realized, oh wait, we need to get something outside. Go back outside. Everyone's up again.
Yeah.
So the only explanation I can think of is Batman beat them up. They were playing dead until they thought he was God.
Yeah, I can do that.
So yeah, he beats up everyone in Arkham, and then I talked to this with Paul, and I talked about it with you. He basically straight up executes the Joker.
I mean, he sends him to the Phantom Zone, which is a prison where you're not dead, but you're supposed to be held there forever, which is kind of like execution. It's really a life sentence in a special prison, if you think about it. But the point is, he's doing this without jurisdiction and stuff, and Barbara had said previously, like, no, we're not allowed to send people to the Phantom Zone, that's not legal. And he doesn't care.
No,
Also, the Joker, asked for it, which doesn't affect whether or not it's an execution. That does affect...
But she does say, you can't be a hero if all you care about is yourself. Which I really wouldn't say was the case here, because he's not caring about himself. He's caring about the safety of Gotham.
Well, he wasn't, beside himself with worry this whole time and no, we have to do this to save Gotham. He was beside himself with boredom that he had nothing to do and came up to something Joker related to do and was arrogant enough to go ahead and do it and not discuss it with Barbara, which she's the commissioner and he has every reason to be trusted. So there's something in there about his arrogance.
Yeah, but I still would have gone with the main thing of you just basically trapped this guy in another dimension.
Yeah, totally illegal and all that. You could have emphasized that point.
Yes, there's the whole underlying theme of you didn't trust me, you lied to me.
Yeah.
But there's the more important fact of his immediate actions. Yes, the underlying causes are important. But if you catch a guy setting a building on fucking fire, do you go, no, okay, I understand that you're just acting out against your father. No, you go, you're going to fucking jail because you just set a building on fire.
Well, right. Nobody was suggesting not to send criminals in jail. It was just which jail to send them to.
Okay, well, it's just that it seemed like she was getting angry at the root cause rather than the immediate action, which would seem to be more worrying.
Yeah, no, okay. That's what you mean there, yeah. Anyway, she's mad at him, and the Joker winds up in the Phantom Zone, where he reveals his plan. He's going to recruit everybody there.
Which includes Voldemort, Daleks, the Wicked Witch of the West, King Kong, the Kraken from Jason and the Argonauts, Sauron in eye and tower form. Okay, wait a second. When exactly did Sauron's eye and tower get sent to the Phantom Zone? Was that something that... Did I miss that cut of Lord of the Rings where, Gandalf, I can't do this. Oh, it's okay. I have this Phantom Zone projector. We could just end this in one single thing. Let me get on the Eagles that we also could have ended this with. Oh, I just wanted to take the long way around.
Yeah, no. That's,
So who sent King Kong to the Phantom Zone? He died.
yeah.
And he really wasn't the bad guy. He was more of a ape that was taken out of his natural environment. I mean, if you take an alligator and you put it in a kindergarten class, there's going to be problems.
There just might be, but whatever. They're
not going to blame the alligator. They're going to blame you for putting an alligator there. After they arrest you for burning down that building. Because we're assuming all crimes are committed by the same guy.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
Let's see. Daleks are in there, which seems, as Doctor Who fans, seems like a really stupid move. I mean, I discussed this with Jimmy. 4 Daleks with almost no resources except for a scavenged Dalek battle saucer in under 5 years managed to infiltrate American society, crash the stock market, cause the Great Depression, then decided to capture thousands of people with no one noticing, build the Empire State Building specifically for the purpose of harvesting lightning to fuse them to Dalek DNA and creating a race of human Dalek hybrids in order to preserve the Dalek race for all of time. And no one noticed this until the Doctor came along. That was with the resources of 1950s technology.
1930s.
30s technology. This... You're basically giving them an infinite playground to study and weaponize. If you put real Daleks in there, not these things, the Phantom Zone would have been made out of chlorine gas that they would have turned into nanobots that slowly turn you into Daleks that also ate lava.
Right.
And farted lasers. I don't know. Okay, look. The Daleks are really wasted in this film.
Well, that's the thing though. The Lego movies delights in mix and matching various things. The first one did, and the second one does also. And when you mix and match various things, you're going to find stuff that is totally incompatible with each other, right? The Daleks are supposed to be incredibly powerful, and they can't just be given some sort of bit role. But when you're having a movie with a whole bunch of other villains already, and the Joker is supposed to be the primary one, then naturally everyone else kind of falls a little bit to the side. And
you know what? They should have used the Cybermen then. It would have more fit to their technological level. It would have more fit into their abilities, and it wouldn't have made basically the Doctor's Joker into mooks.
Right. This is kind of what kids do with Legos, though.
Yeah, true. Okay, and I know I'm not really supposed to get mad at all of this considering you have the Joker commanding an army of super awesome movie villains, but still, you can't help but feel that some of the potential was wasted.
Yeah, I mean, that's the downside of the strange new rules on which Lego movies operate. We get to do crazy, weird things, but only because we're ignoring the various shades and abilities of various characters that would otherwise come up. That's the trade-off.
Okay. Well, anyways, the Joker does this. He allies himself with everyone, including the Gremlins from Gremlins, the Thing from the Black Lagoon.
Oh yeah, that
Creature from the Black Lagoon. No, the Thing is a different thing.
The Thing is like 3 different things. I mean, there's the Thing from Fantastic Four, then there's the Thing from Another World, and there's like some other thing.
Yeah. Anyways.
That's the sequel. Some other thing.
And Harley Quinn fires the Phantom Beam Zone projector into the sky with the instruction, release all prisoners. Why would you have that? The Phantom Zone is supposed to be the ultimate prison. They're not supposed to be a way out.
Poor design. Very poor design.
I mean, I get that if you accidentally send the wrong person there,
you'd like to bring them back. But yeah, but not bringing everyone back all at once, perhaps. That was a bad move.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a bad move in this case because that was what it was designed.
Right.
It's supposed to happen, but Voldemort is the first villain out of the gate, and interestingly enough, the guy who played Voldemort in the films, he voices Alfred, and the only reason they didn't have him voice both Alfred and Voldemort in this film was because then the director said, then we'd have to contrive some reason for Voldemort and Alfred to interact, and we couldn't think of a satisfying way to do that.
Okay.
which would have been pretty awesome watching Voldemort get schooled by an English butler.
Yeah.
Although I can also see Alfred going, yes, British wizard, and then him just kicking Voldemort's ass. You seem to have forgotten that we muggles
Has a few tricks of our own. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, perfect. See? Let's see. Wicked Witch, Eye of Sauron, whole bunch of monsters.
So basically, chaos erupts. Thanks to the Eye of Sauron, they're able to figure out that the Batcave is underneath Wayne Manor, leading to the line, "You mean Bruce Wayne is Batman's roommate?" Which I totally called that just before it happened. I was like, "That's
he
really
did.
going
He
with that."
absolutely did.
Yeah.
And even though he was announced as a 9,000-year-old god of evil, you can see Sauron's eye just flicking back and forth before refocusing on Joker, going, "Yeah, sure, that's it." Even if you were a 9,000-year-old god of evil, there are some things that even you don't have the heart to do.
So they basically capture the Batcave and they turn Wayne Manor into a Joker-themed amusement park thing.
One line I did like was, "So here's where he keeps all his wonderful toys," which is a callback to the 1989 Batman film where the Jack Nicholson Joker said, "Where does he get all those wonderful toys about Batman's stuff?"
Cool.
So this is where he gets it from. And thankfully, Batman didn't have the bomb, gotten rid of from earlier. Yeah. Gotten rid of. No. He stored it. So now they have all the bombs again.
Right.
And so Batman decides. Barbara says, "Okay, we're letting you out because we literally have no other option. And Lord Voldemort is also literally turning my cops into fish." That was a thing.
So she says, "We'll let you out if you agree to team up." So Batman says, "Sure, I can team up." And they go team up and fight for a while, and they sort of bond. And then Batman does that bit where he sends the people away because he cares about them, which is better than sending them away because he's an arrogant jerk. So, progress.
Also, they're saying, "You're only doing this because you want to be alone." I said, in this case, he has a pretty good argument for,
right,
not wanting to risk anyone else's life because he's going into a Dalek fortress that was built by the Joker and is manned by Agent Smith from The Matrix, King Kong, all of Universal's old movie stable.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, yeah, and Voldemort! I forgot about Voldemort.
There are various tropes you try to apply that suddenly don't make sense when you consider the implications. Like, to jump track... Yeah, which we do. To jump track a little bit, in the Pixar movie The Incredibles...
Yeah.
Mr. Incredible's character flaw was that he spends too much time on his hobby, essentially, and not enough time with his family. Except his hobby involves saving people who otherwise would have died, so that's kind of like the world's most important hobby right there.
Yeah, I mean...
if you think about it, it doesn't quite fit them... Oh, whatever.
Yeah, one of the most reasonable flaws that I've heard of for, superheroes is exactly that. I don't know... You need to stop doing what you're doing. I would, but I have super senses. I can literally hear every time someone's about to be raped.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's what it's like whenever I read these type of stories. Now, I will grant that the web serial Worm actually kind of deconstructed this by having a person who was essentially a super healer. And admittedly, her home life did not contribute to this, but she was under massive amounts of pressure to always heal people at all times. To the point where she would sneak out of her house, go down to the hospital, and just start healing people at random because what if someone dies because I wasn't there to stop them?
And then I imagine the perfectionism really wore her down eventually and wasn't good in the long run.
Oh, God, no. She actually went mildly... She slipped up at the wrong moment. Turns out her power was not, in fact, healing. It was biokinesis. She was just shaping people into a healed state. And then she found her love interest and accidentally wiped their mind into a subservient sex doll.
That's creepy. And that summarizes Worm for you right there.
No. Not all of them have such a happy ending.
Right.
Yeah, it's usually worse. Actually, no, that was actually the worst thing that I've seen in Worm.
Oh, wow.
But that's just because of my own mental hang-up about, mental
stuff. Yeah, mental stuff can be very
moving
creepy.
Along. But this sort of thing is a thing.
Is a thing. Things
Yeah.
are things. Good.
Things are things.
All right. Put that on a T-shirt. And so Batman goes alone to Wayne Manor, and confronts everybody again, and is about to get sent off to the Phantom Zone himself, being totally defeated, when his family folks show up again. No, that's right. He goes to the Phantom Zone briefly first, and realizes that they've shown up on their own. Like they talked the computer into letting them come back and fight, and they care about him, and he wants to be with them, and they're in trouble now.
Yeah,
and...
this scene upon rewatching doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because the scanner was capable of going, oh, okay, this is the Joker. You've done a lot of bad things, but you have vulnerabilities. And, like, shows Joker being all teary-eyed and stuff. But, like, it scans frickin' Batman. And says, you're pretty much all evil. I mean, you're not exactly light, but you're not a...
She says you're not a traditional bad guy, but you're not exactly good either, so she's confused. And her deal is to scan for badness in particular. She's not, finding goodness I thought was, like, incidental to the programming or something.
Yeah, but still, you should have seen, like, all of the villains, all of the plots that Batman has foiled over the years.
Well, she does end up letting him go, so apparently she saw some good in him, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
So Batman begs to let that back in, and there's this little bit where she's like, you have to catch all the bad guys and bring them back. But which she apparently means all the Phantom Zone bad guys, but plus Batman, because...
And minus the Joker, because she doesn't have any problem with the Joker,
I don't know, what protocol of some kind. But he goes down there and teams up with the Phantom, says sorry, takes him a long time to say that.
He doesn't even say it. He says, I'm sorry.
You're sorry? Yes,
I did it.
But then his moment later, he is more poignant when he says, I was afraid. And he, like, confronts his fear of having a family again and teams up with the family and trusts them. And then they kick they kick butt, right? And just when everything seems great, the bomb goes off because, oh crap, we forgot to, like, check the time. Oh, that's new.
I mean, admittedly, you were fighting Velociraptors, Daleks, Gremlins,
right. But, like,
and
normally,
Smith.
Everyone has perfect awareness of the timing of bombs in these scenarios. Right?
Okay, yeah, so this was a nice subversion.
The bomb goes off, and the whole place starts splitting apart, like, tectonic style, or call them whatever you like. And for a moment, it looks like Batman is going to pull tectonic plates back together again with his grapple hook, because... that always works.
Let's be honest, that is not the weirdest thing that he's used a grapple hook for.
That is, so they go weirder. They go with people stacking on each other's heads, because Legos can do that. And then he's going to, like, swing over and grab and pull the tectonic plates back together with his abs. But then he has to grab onto the Joker, and he tells the Joker, you are my greatest enemy, and if Gotham is destroyed, I'll never get to chase you again. It was like... so silly and also kind of poignant somehow, and they managed
But no, that wasn't silly. What was silly was everyone else in Gotham doing this plan of stacking on each other's heads to make bridges across and pull each other back together.
And it works, folks.
Of course it works, because this is a movie where logic is just weeping in a corner, cowering and covering its bruises.
And then we go to, Batman is going to sacrifice himself to the Phantom Zone, having decided that he is a bad guy. And he gives this speech...
No. Her thing was, Phyllis's thing was, all the bad guys need to go back. All of them, and she includes him in that.
I mean, she said all. I thought it was ambiguous, because she ends up not letting him come back, right?
So. Well, she still thinks he's not a good guy.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So, like...
But she ends up changing her mind by the end of it at this point.
Okay, yeah. So he didn't know that, so he
sacrificed. So he sacrificed himself.
One question is, why does the Phantom Zone projector disappear? And doesn't this mean that no one can get out of the Phantom Zone anymore?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yes, there's Daleks and Velociraptors and T-Rexes and monsters there. But at the same time, it's a prison. You should have a way to get someone out if you need to. Maybe there's
more than one projector. And this one just ran out of batteries or something. I don't know.
If it runs out of batteries, it disintegrates.
Yes. To prevent people from reverse engineering it, of course.
If it runs out of batteries.
Yes. I don't know.
Remember to check your Phantom Zone projector batteries every 6 months, or it vanishes forever.
Yes. I have no
idea.
It would have made more sense if the thing just fell down to the ground like normal
and broke.
I get, yeah, but just breaking that'd be normal. Yeah, do that anyway. So just before he goes, he gives this little speech about how it's hard to lose people, but that doesn't mean you don't let people into your life. Oh my gosh! Again, with the actual poignant something or other there.
And he doesn't really ruin it.
No, for
I mean,
once.
this is like the first time he doesn't really ruin it.
Yeah.
I mean, even that other one he ruined by having a Babs signal, which is a bat signal, but with lipstick and hair.
Yep.
Quick question: when did he have time to make that? Wait a sec. Forget it. It's Batman. He probably has an anti-mutant banana, anti-mutant banana uprising plan.
Yep. So he gives a speech, and then he gets rejected from the fandom zone because hey, you tried to change the world, and you looked at yourself and made a change. And it was like a reference to this Michael Jackson song from the beginning of the movie. Like, oh my gosh, you guys were setting that up the whole time. Okay, cool.
They were like referencing it that whole movie. Like the first thing you see on the screen is text of Michael Jackson's song. You know, if you want to
make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change.
Who? And yes, they wrote out who, and then attributed it to Michael Jackson. Batman's voice came on and said, "No, he didn't say that. I said that," and it switched out to Batman.
Yeah. But then it's that is the ending, and he's got like his Bat family now, and they have this whole thing about friends are family and under the end credits. And a short bit with snake clowns.
Yes.
And it was well done. It was clearly, they did what they set out to do with a lot of bombast.
And they did their homework.
Oh yeah.
It was clear that there was a lot of love put into every aspect of this production.
Yeah. So fun stuff.
There's really not much else to say.
No.
It's just a really great movie. Go see it.
Okay.
We probably should have put in something about spoilers, huh?
Well, when it comes to Lego movies, it was also silly to begin with. Maybe spoilers don't matter as much.
I do have to say the one thing that this definitely improved on, there was, aside from maybe a few subtle hints, there is no indication of the outside world.
Yeah,
of the humans.
That was a weird
existing.
thing in the first movie. So
it wasn't weird. It ruined the movie because why does all this matter if none of this story matters and it's just all a setup for this idiot kid having problems communicating with his dad? Then all of these characters that we grew to care for and cheered on in their struggles and their battles and overcoming their personal adversities. Finally, they're capable of doing this stuff, but it doesn't matter because they don't exist. They're just metaphors for problems that a kid is having with his own father.
Yeah, except there's a little hint that they do exist because Emmett does physically move somehow within the real world.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Which doesn't make any sense. Okay, so we already reviewed that movie.
But this one, they didn't have that in there.
Yeah.
So we cared about the characters. There wasn't some external force that was mandating all of this stuff, except for like studio executives and stuff. But still,
yeah. So well done overall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Or listening.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's everything we have to say on it. Go watch it.
Cool.
Anyways, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
Signing off.